and today I'm gonna do like a chatty get ready with me. I haven't done those a whole ton since I started my channel. I probably do them like once a month or so now. So anyway, we're gonna get started. I already have my face moisturized with my Besame. I think it's the vanishing cream. Yeah, it's the vanishing cream. I don't think you can get this right now. I don't know if they'll bring it back or not. And that's actually kind of the chattiness, I guess, part of this video is I kind of want to talk about like the indie beauty space and just some things I have thoughts on. I'm going to use my Flower Supernova Celestial Skin Primer. I like it because it's purple. I also really love like the drippy like aesthetic of it. It's so fun to just, I don't know, drip something on your face. But especially when it's like really, like it smells really nice and it's glittery, and I don't know how people who have like already really oily skin don't do it. Because like I like the drippy oily things. But like as far as like the Besame Vanishing Cream, that is something that gets my goat, I guess, is the indie beauty space has so many unique and innovative and interesting makeup things, makeup ideas, and yet they always go out of stock of stuff. Like one, I remember a lot of people losing their shit about specifically was the Kaleidos' Deep Sea Luster palette, their very first eyeshadow palette. And, you know, if you find it now, that thing is like, how old? Like 5, 6, 7 years old. And I still see them on eBay or every now and again Poshmark or Mercari listed for like a couple $100s, if not more. And it's an expirable product. Like, that's not something, it's not like other collector items that, you know, don't go bad. And that's like with Besame, they're probably one of my very favorite makeup companies. They were one of the first true makeup companies I started buying from because I was obsessed with like red lipstick and stuff when I was a kid. I'm going to use the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Dew Primer. I'm going to put it on my drier spots. But yeah, I mean, that is something about Besame that has always irked me is outside of their collab stuff, they have so much stuff that I would consider like staple products, like their mascaras, their face powders, their different foundations. They've had so many different iterations of foundation. It's kind of like wild to think about. Their face creams, like I had the day cream, the night cream, their makeup removing cold cream, the vanishing cream, and yet they're not even on their website anymore. And I was so glad that I got another vanishing cream, I think this last Black Friday, because like they're out of it now, and it is what I use as moisturizer. Now, like I liked their day cream and their night cream, but I mean they don't have that stuff anymore. And like, yeah, that's skincare, but the same is true for makeup. Like Divina, they have like they're a staple in the beauty makeup space, and yet so much of their stuff is limited edition. You know, I am loath to speak of them because they have themselves in a bit of a pickle at the moment. TerraMoons is kind of the same way. Like, why do you come out with products? And I get, you know, they might not have the ability, or, you know, especially with multi-products, sometimes those ingredients just aren't anymore. And I get it. Like, I get it, except, like, what's the point of such limited batches? And I know small businesses like Electrum Cosmetics, you know, I have been wanting to try Electrum Cosmetics, and yet it's a one-woman show, and right now she's having products that, they have already bought, which I don't mind having to wait. And now I'm using my Brick the Lust, the reformulated one. And I mean, like, I don't mind having to wait, but conversation with their audience about when they're going to restock, why it's out of stock, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, it just seems pointless, especially, again, with staple products like foundations or mascaras, concealers, and the like. Why would you come out with a product that is something people are going to buy over and over and over again and then just discontinue it almost immediately, It just doesn't make sense. Because that's not something a lot of people are just going to go out of their way to buy, but it is also something that if an audience likes it, they're going to get it over and over again. I think that's how brands like Benefit and Clinique have stayed in business so long, because they're not relying on eyeshadow palettes and lipstick collections and highlighters to be their bread and butter, because they have brow products and foundations and, other things like that are limited use items that people are going to buy over and over again. Probably multiples of a year. So, like, I don't know, like, and I know the indie beauty space, that's why it's so hard to find, like, staple products like that, because then they're just gone, and you don't know if you should get attached or not, because what if it's just gone? Like, the mascara I used for the longest time was my Besame. They have a cream mascara in a squeezy tube, and I bought, like, they recently came back in stock with it, so I stocked up a little bit, and that's what I've done before, because it just goes out of stock, and there's not really a conversation of why it's out of stock or when it's coming back, if it's coming back, that kind of thing. So I don't know. I love indie makeup, and I would like to be able to support smaller businesses more so. But it's just hard because you don't know if they're going to keep stuff in stock. My air conditioner just turned on. And now I'm using my Fenty Eavesdrop foundation in, I don't know, the lightest shade probably. Warming it up on my hand. But yeah, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Because again, I want to be able to support smaller businesses. For one, I just like indie brands better, but like it also then is easier for indie brands to get into trouble, like TerraMoons, for instance. And they're not one, like, I don't know how to feel about the situation, because on one hand, yeah, the collaborator is problematic, like, obviously, largely, horribly problematic. But, I know Marlene Estelle, as problematic as she herself is, has talked about, part of how her brand Makeup Geek went under was because a collab that got canceled with Jaclyn Hill and, other brands that, a collab that didn't do so well, or that the brand decided not to do the collab, or the collaborator decided not to, follow through, that, when they already have the product made or bought, ordered whatever, that they can't use it then. And they have all that wasted packaging, wasted product that they can't get their money back. And especially with small brands like TerraMoons, like, yeah, I think it sucks the situation they got themselves in, and it's definitely something to consider, okay. But if TerraMoons was known to follow that specific influencer, you know, maybe they feel the same way, you know? Maybe they're friendly for a reason. You know, again, TerraMoons is a small brand ran by one person for the most part, I think. So, you know, I think calling them out for problematic behavior is fine, but I also think it needs to be understood that when TerraMoons goes ahead and releases this collaboration product, that's okay. Like, let them try and make their money back, and then, you know, you don't have to buy it, but they're probably still going to sell it, and you never have to support the brand again. Like, I'm a little bit interested to see how they handle things going forward, because, like, I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of complicated feelings about it, personally, but I also understand a small brand is one person, and that harms one person when messy things happen. Whereas big brands like Urban Decay and, I mean, what is the other one? Too Faced? That had a huge, you know, thing with making tutorials that was super ugly. I mean, Too Faced, yeah, the brand owners left, but it's a company that's still going. You know, Kat Von D left the company, and it's still going. Small brands like TerraMoons, Besame, and others like that, it's not the same for them. And so while I do think we should put our money where our beliefs and our mouths are, I also think we can't just call out like, because if that's the one thing they've done so far when they're a brand that was in the space of like what they said, they've given them a box as a little interactive as much as it was. They're probably going to release the collab. They will have to, most likely, for monetary reasons, to continue to stay afloat. Those are still people. TerraMoons is still a company with a woman, or a person, I don't know how she identifies, that still has to make money and support her family, and I don't have to like it or agree with it, and I probably will never buy from TerraMoons again, but I do think it just needs to be like, go now, that, you know, we know where they stand on things, and you can make your personal decisions accordingly. And that's fine. You know, there are brands I don't buy from because I don't like the person behind them, like Jeffree Star Cosmetics. I had a few things from Jeffree Star before I knew who the brand owner was or anything about them, and now that I do, I don't buy from them. I don't support them. I don't talk about them on my channel. I don't bring that kind of stuff up. So, yeah, I think, I don't know, I think it's a lot more complicated with smaller brands than we want to make it, because it's not as simple as, hey, don't release that collab, or, you know, whatever, because it's obvious TerraMoons was aware of the collaborators' feelings and opinions on things, and the collaborator themselves has just doubled down on that, right? And after TerraMoons' lackluster response, and they haven't posted anything else. I mean, it's been a month ago now, and they haven't said anything else about it. And that's fine. That's obviously their thoughts and feelings on things. But that doesn't mean the community has to support them. I'm sure some people will, and that's fine, you know? I won't, but that's just, again, my personal preference. Here, I gotta get a brush. I'll be right back. All right, I had to get a brush. But I mean, yeah, I guess it's, the small beauty space is full of drama and complications and lots of varied opinions, and that's okay. That's good. Variety is good. Having people that challenge your thoughts and beliefs that don't even necessarily agree with you is good. And I'm using some of my Besame powders. It's not the end of the world. But again, we are people who are free to pay for and use our money to support who we want to. And if those kind of things don't bother you, okay, cool. You know? Whatever you want to do in your own personal life is fine. You know, this isn't the same thing, but I mean, like, as far as books go, I have bought and read books from authors I think are problematic, but I don't agree with them. I don't even necessarily like the author personally, but I like their books, or I wanted to finish a series, or I read their books before I knew who they were as a person, and I like their books. Is that something that I think, now that I make YouTube videos about reading books, I should platform them? No. But I also think it's a lot more nuanced than you know, that. Because some people who buy from brands don't know the brand's thoughts and feelings. I mean, so many brands are so large, and again, it's a corporation. It's kind of hard to tell how a corporation feels or thinks about something when it's ran by a board of people and not just an individual. And so I think indie brands have to be a lot more careful because of that. You know, same thing, indie authors, they don't have a publicist likely, or PR representatives, or a publishing house behind them fighting those battles for them. It's all up to them to, you know, promote their own works and just, you know, do it all themselves, basically. So, yeah, I mean, it's a lot tougher and more complicated, for sure. And again, indie brands are exactly in the same boat. They have to fight all their battles for themselves, and people are messy. People get emotional. You know, when they feel like their life or their livelihood is at stake, they can get messy and ugly, because they're human. You know, and that is, unfortunately, how humans work. Ugh, I got fuzzies everywhere. Cats, man, their cat hair gets everywhere, especially now that my little cat has taken to laying on a shelf where I keep my makeup brushes. I'm going to have to move them or find a way to deter him from laying there. But anyway, now we're gonna do face highlighter. I'm going to use some of my singles, and these are like, those are not the right ones. They're over here. They're like super broken, which part of them it's because I panned them, but then a couple of them, my other cats, when I first moved into the house and they lived with me, they were playing and this fell off the dresser, and like 3 of them broke. So I'm going to just use some of them, and these are a mixture of Looksy, Give Me Glow, and I think this other one is a TerraMoons one. Yeah, so I'm just gonna kind of like mix them together and use them. I'm trying to use them up so then I just like feel like I can throw them away finally. That's probably not a great thing to, I don't know. I probably should just throw them away now, but I spent money on them, man, and indie makeup can be very expensive, you know? So, but I don't reach for these very often, and I don't think I have actually reached for these in like a year or so. I decided it was probably best to do that now. My hair keeps getting in my way. But yeah, I don't know. Indie brands, man. Indie brands. And that's actually, like, I'm trying to wear all indie makeup today. For what I have. Which most of what I have is from indie brands, because that's like what, I don't know, they have the more interesting color stories and formulas, and that's kind of like what I go for anyway. Like, for the longest time, every single brand was, you know, neutrals were everywhere, but to find color, you had to you had to look harder, basically. Alright, so now I'm going to actually be using the Rogue palette from Fantasy Cosmetica for the first time. I forgot I had this, which, it's been a couple weeks since I got it, and I don't know, haven't had time to play with it, but I have so many palettes that look like this. The little plastic thing fell. But I have so many palettes that are like basically the same color story, but I'm curious to use it. I think it's beautiful. I'm actually going to try and do a makeup look. I was inspired when I was putting these books back up. I did a a book tour thing of all of my childhood favorite books. And this is Goddess by Josephine Angelini. This is the third book, and what had originally been a trilogy, but she's writing more books in this series, which is so exciting. But these books are kind of modern day Greek mythology retellings, kind of like the descendants of gods. It starts with the book Star-Crossed, and the main character's name is Helen, which is actually why I ended up buying these books. I think I was 17 when I first read these, 16 or 17. And I bought them because the main character's name was Helen. It was about Greek mythology. I love Greek mythology. My name is Helen, so, you know, here we are. But I thought, you know, that was kind of inspired. And I actually wanted to do a makeup look on this and started going through my makeup to find palettes. And remembered I had this one and it would be perfect. So that's what we're going to use. And it also goes with, I'm wearing a pink shirt and stuff. And then I'm going to wear these blue shoes today, and then I have just skinny jeans on. But I thought, you know, that would be a look, kind of Sleeping Beauty kind of a thing, you know, the pink and the blue. But anyway, so yeah, I think indie makeup brands, I just like them better. You know, I've always really been drawn to indie brands, but like now they're all doing neutrals. Like, what's up with that? Like Sydney Grace, I feel always did like a heavy mix of neutrals, but like every palette they've come out with recently is so neutral heavy, which is weird because when I first heard of Sydney Grace, it was kind of in the same breath of people talking about Cleona and Davina, and they're just so neutral heavy, like so neutral heavy. And the same thing with Kaleidos. Like, I first got into Kaleidos when their Futurism palettes came out, and I had all of the Futurism palettes at one point in time. I have since, well, I didn't declutter them because I really wanted to. When I moved to this house, a lot of them broke in transit. I didn't realize how delicate they were. And those and a couple of ABH palettes I had were the only losses I guess I had moving. But, like, I loved the Kaleidos palettes. I felt like those color stories were so inspired, but, like, also so small. And I don't know, it was just an easy way to wear color, and I was really, like, starting to get into color. Before that, I had really only used Tarte and ABH, And then like, you know, drugstore brands and stuff. And so I didn't have a lot of variety. And it was, I don't know, it was just so easy to have 5 colors and a really condensed but bright, colorful color story to figure out color theory and how colors went together and how you could even play with colors. Like the turquoise palette had that orange in it, and even how you, so you know, with the teals and the blues and then that orange, how you could make colors that might not otherwise go together. And they were just, and now, like, why every palette Kaleidos has come out with in the last couple years is like a neutral, because they started with like the Sashimi City and the Lunar Lavender, which were kind of their, at the time, like, take on a neutral palette, or neutral palettes. And, you know, then they just kind of went radio dead, like radio silence for a long time, and were just releasing like face products, and then came back with the 2 original quads, the black and gray one and then the brown one, and then the 2 like more purple ones, and then now they have 2 more that are kind of just, in my opinion, a mashup of the other 4 quads they already have. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh no, they're different. When you are somebody who already has 15 neutral palettes, I promise you, 1 more neutral palette, you don't need it. The same with, you have 15 colorful palettes, you don't need another one. Me, who has probably 20 blue and purple palettes, didn't need another one, and yet here I have another one. And I mean, yes, it's different, and yes, it's, you know, something, this color story is different, but I have these shades, you know, in other palettes, definitely, and I could make whatever look I wanted to with this palette with another palette. You know, this look I'm doing, I could do with a different palette. Am I going to? I mean, obviously not. I'm using this one right now. But, I mean, still, it's just, what's with the rise of the neutrals? And, like, again, and this is going back to TerraMoons, the single shadows I got from them recently, like, from their most recent launch, so, it would be their summer solstice launch, they're all, like, very neutral multi-chromes. You know, and that's not bad. It's just, what's with all the neutrals lately? You know? It's just, I don't know. Not bad. It's curious, right? Very curious. I don't know. It's just, weird. Okay, I don't know what shimmer I want to use. So, these are so pretty. Oh my god. Okay, well, I definitely think I'm going to use all of them. LOL. Yeah, okay. So, let me kind of that on the outer lash line. Oh god, it's so freaking pretty. Kind of stamp it over here in the same kind of a way. Beautiful. Okay, and then I want to put this one kind of on the inner corner Oh, and the first shimmer shade I used was Deception, and then this one is Sleight of Hand. But like, yeah, and I don't, anyway. So, I guess, I don't know. As far as, like, the rise of neutral palettes, I don't know what that's an answer to, but it just seems weird for the indie space as a whole to all of a sudden decide that a neutral color story is the color story to go. And I've seen it with like a lot of other smaller, like micro indie brands as well. I mean, Inslee Rain has done several more neutral leaning color stories. So has Bella Beauty Bar and a few others that I've been looking at. And then I'm going to use Trickster, which is kind of this pink shade, and kind of like mush it on the lid to kind of marry those two shades together. Does that look okay? Does that, yeah, okay, that does look okay. Good. Ah, yes, the beauty. Okay, this, I don't know why I haven't tried this brand before. This is fucking amazing. Like, the mattes, I mean, were so, like, they're so good. They're so good. And then these shimmers are some of the, like, most magical things I have ever, like, put on my eyes. And they're not super unique, but I'm still super impressed because some indie brands, like, do impress, but I hate to say it, but I didn't expect to be impressed by this palette. Okay, so I am going to do my bottom lash line probably off camera. It's just easier that way, and we'll come back. Okay, so I kind of just did with the shimmers on the bottom that I did on the top. And then I used my face highlighter. I kind of put it on the inner corner to just brighten it up a little bit more. But like, look at that. Look at that. Look at it. I mean, like, oh my god, it's beautiful. Anyway, I'm like, just blown away. It's this good. Like, I haven't been this impressed in a while. And the fallout, like, I didn't really have any fallout at all until I started doing my bottom lash line, and I was, like, smudging more, you know? So that's a win, for sure. I'm gonna go ahead, and do lipstick. I'll say what I'm doing when I come back, and then probably mascara as well. So I'll be back. Alright, and I have returned. I was going to, as far as mascara, I used my Besame mascara. This is the Marilyn Monroe collab tube, but it is actually now the squeeze mascara inside of it. So that's the mascara I used. As far as lip products, I was gonna go indie and did as far as my lip liner. This is actually from Use or Kai Love Beauty. They're not around anymore. They're gone. But I just went with a kind of an old, tried and true, duo for me, and that is the Lancome Crushed Rose lipstick. I've had this one for a long ass time. And then my Fenty Beauty, the original Diamond Bomb, and this one's like almost empty. Like, it has nothing hardly at all left in it. Oh, okay, well, some stuff came out and made a liar of me, but like, it's pretty much empty. And this is the original one. I got this one when it first launched, so this lip gloss is also very old. It still smells good, but it's also getting kind of like, the texture is weird. Like, it's very kind of thick. But anyway, this look is done. And yeah, as far as like my ramblings about, you know, indie brands, you know, I love the indie beauty space. I think that indie makeup has always done unique stuff. It's just, you know, I got some small nitpicks. Obviously, why would you, I mean, again, like with the Besame stuff, why would you come out with what is a staple product and then not keep it around? Or why, like, I don't know. And, like, I would like to know your thoughts, too, about that. And about when indie brands get themselves in messes, is it, do you think the amount of accountability that's, you know, they're held to is fair in comparison to larger brands? Because I mean, like Ofra, the people who run it, which I guess they don't run it anymore, but still, they made some very not great posts on social media, and the same with ABH, Anastasia Beverly Hills. The owner who, so, and you know, ABH I guess could be considered, it originally was an indie brand. Yeah, it's mainstream now, but you know, it is known for being the person whose brand it is, you know. And they weren't, people still buy from them, people still platform them, and yet a brand like TerraMoons picks a controversial figure. And I say controversial as in it has caused controversy in the community. There are very obviously people who still support them, but they've also had a lot of backlash, rightfully so. But at the same time, is that fair? Like, they still have to make money, and they are technically allowed to collaborate with whoever they want to, right? So I'm like, I don't know. I would love your thoughts on this. And also, what's with everyone making neutral palettes? Like, to me, when I think of indie makeup, I don't think of neutral, I think of color, like this, you know, or an interesting take on a neutral concept, not what Kaleidos has become, which to me is they're either a base product, face, you know, cheek product company, mainly blushes and face powders, or they're making 10 versions of a neutral palette. And kind of the same thing, like, I guess with Odin's Eye, like, their palettes are still interesting, but they're getting more and more neutral all the time. And to me, they had some of the most inspired color stories, and now they're kind of boring. So I would love to know your take. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.